All right, hello ACT Prep. Here we go, another video. I'm going to continue with the whole sine, cosine, tangent. We talked about that. What I want from you guys is to keep in mind when we get to this point, we need a graphing calculator. Now, there's all kinds available online. I know TI, Texas Instruments, has released some free versions of their different calculators that you can Google. Just Google graphing calculator online, and there'll be all kinds of options come up. All right, so when we're dealing with this, we need to make sure, first of all, that if we're using a handheld operation, we need to make sure it's in degree mode. Okay, so hold on 1 second. Let me get my, bear with me. You're going to see a room. This is my mess over here where I work every day now. Okay, so here we go, back around, take all the room in. Okay, this is my son's room. Okay, so if I have a handheld calculator, I want to make sure that I'm in degree mode. If you look at the top, it says degree. Do you see that? If it says radian, then you have to hit the mode button right here, mode. And you'll notice if you scroll down, about the third one down, it says radian or degree. If it's on radian, use your arrow keys to go over to degree. Let me show you that, hold on. So I would go down, 1, 2, over 1, and hit the enter key at the bottom. Enter. And then you're in degree mode. And then you can just hit second, quit. Okay. All right. So making sure you're in degree mode is the most important thing before we get started. So let's say we have a triangle, a right triangle again. That's all we're dealing with right now. And we'll call it ABC again. This night time, we're going to actually work with some numbers. Let's say I know this is 3, and they want to know how long the hypotenuse is. Okay, so I have options here. Let me give some degree measures, because without those, I can't do squat. All right, so let's say I have something like this. That should give me my 180 degrees. That's what a triangle always adds up to. All right, so if I look at this, I have options. If I go from angle A, right now I have my hypotenuse that I'm looking for, and I have my adjacent to A, right? So adjacent hypotenuse, recall from the previous video, was cosine. So I could say cosine of 61 equals adjacent, which is 3, over hypotenuse, which in this case is my x. That's what I'm looking for, okay? So that's one option, all right? Your other option, you could go from angle C. So if I go from angle C now, that's still my hypotenuse. That is my opposite side, right? So that would be sine, right? So I'd have to say sine, in this case, 29 degrees, equals still 3 over x, right? Now, you don't have to solve both of these. I'm just showing you could do it either way, okay? You could either set it up. This is an or, not an and, okay? You don't have to do both of these, okay? So I'm just going to go with sine since I have room down here. When I'm looking at these, I have two things I can do. I can either multiply or I can divide. Here's the quick rule of thumb, okay? Okay. If x is on, I'm putting two words together here, sorry, is on top. You ever do that? Your head gets ahead of your hand. Okay, if x is on top, I multiply. Oop, I can't see what I'm writing. Multiply. Okay. So if x is on top, I multiply. All right. And then if x is on bottom, I divide. And this will make sense as we practice this. You ready? So if x is on top, I multiply. If x is on bottom, I divide. So I look over here at my examples. Where is x? Is it on top or bottom? Hopefully you notice it's on bottom. So back over here, if x is on bottom, I divide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say the number that's on top, 3, divided by this here, sine 29. Okay, make sure you put this first, this second. So just put it in your calculator. And if you put it in, 3 divided by, and then the sine button is right here. You guys see that right there? Sine, and I'd say 29. Close it out, hit enter, and you get 6.187. Now, a lot of times in a question, so x equals 6.187, a lot of questions will tell you to round to the nearest tenth or hundredths or thousandths, okay? So you just round accordingly. I just went out 3 decimal places. I didn't really round, because if I rounded, that would be 1.88. So I'm not stressing so much, because with the ACT, you're going to find the closest answer, okay? So let's look at an example where x is on top so you can see when I multiply, okay? So let's change this up a little bit. Don't want to be boring and keep the same everything. We'll keep the same basic shape. And let's say I have x here and 8 here. Oops. 8 here. All right. So let's rewrite all this stuff. Hold on. Give me just a second. Erase, erase, erase. All right, let's make this 52 degrees, which would make this 38 degrees. Okay, so here again, if I go from A, I have opposite x and hypotenuse 8. So that's sine, right? So sine 52 degrees equals opposite x over hypotenuse 8. Okay, see how I wrote that? Or if I go from C, now I have x is adjacent and 8 is my hypotenuse. So that's cosine, right? So cosine 52 equals adjacent x over hypotenuse 8. Okay, let that sink in. We okay with those? All right, now, remember before we talked about if x was on bottom, we divided, and that's what we did in the last one. The other one was if x was on top, we multiply. So x is on top this time, so now I'm going to multiply, and I'm going to use cosine now since it's on the bottom. So if I look at this, I'll say 8, whatever's on bottom, times cosine 52. Okay, so if I go to my calculator, I'm going to try to set it here and make it easier maybe. Okay, so let me clear this out. So I'm going to say 8 times, and cosine's right here beside sine, cosine, and then I do 52. Close it out, and then I hit enter down at the bottom. And I get 4.925. So I'm going to say x equals 4.925. And that's how you get your answer for sine and cosine if you're looking for a missing side length. I'll be posting a video next on a missing angle.